When my mother ordered that my children be given leftover food, and my sister put the expenses on Emmy. I quietly left, made a call, and hours later, the color drained from their faces. Give the kids the leftovers from the fridge. Don't open anything new. My mother's voice echoed through the kitchen, as if this were the most normal thing in the world. My two children sat at the dining table. My son stared at his empty plate, and my daughter swung her legs from her chair, waiting for food to arrive. I stood by the doorway, still wearing my shoes. I had just come straight from work. After a 12-hour shift, standing at a grocery store cash register, pain shot through my lower back. And despite all that, we were temporarily living at my parents' house because I had lost my apartment 3 months earlier when I couldn't keep up with rent payments. My sister Laura lounged on the couch, scrolling through her phone. Without even looking up, she said, "You should cover this month's grocery bill anyway. Your kids eat the most." I looked at her. She had a solid office job and drove a new car. Yet, household expenses somehow kept landing on me simply because I was already staying here. Mom pulled out 3-day-old pasta from the fridge and spooned it onto my kids' plates while fresh food heated on the stove for her and Laura. My daughter asked quietly, "Mama, can we have the food that smells good?" The kitchen went silent. Mom snapped, "This is food, too. Be grateful you're getting anything." Something inside my chest cracked at that moment. Poverty wasn't just about not having money. It slowly stripped away dignity, too. I placed the plates in front of my kids without saying a word. Anger burned inside me, but my voice refused to come out. If I spoke, I knew I would cry, and I didn't want my children to see me fall apart. I turned quietly, opened the door, and stepped onto the porch. Cold air hit my face. My hands trembled as I pulled out my phone and dialed the number a customer had given me the week before, after I joked about needing a better job. "Hello, this is Mark," a voice answered. I inhaled deeply. "This is Jennifer from the grocery store. You mentioned a warehouse job." Within minutes, everything shifted. They needed people immediately. Night shift, better pay, health insurance, and most importantly, a signing bonus. By the time I hung up, my fingers felt numb. Back inside, my kids had barely eaten half their plates while Mom and Laura watched TV, eating fresh food. "Kids, put your jackets on," I said. Laura looked up. "Where are you going?" "We'll be back later." She shrugged, uninterested. I drove straight to a friend's house who had once offered temporary help. On the way, I called the warehouse's HR department and started the application process. By 11 that night, I was filling out forms online while my kids slept curled together on my friend's couch. The next morning, as I dropped them at school, my phone rang. They offered me the job without even requiring an interview. They needed someone reliable immediately. When I returned to my parents' house that afternoon, Mom and Laura were in the kitchen discussing bills. "By the way, you'll handle the electricity bill this month, too," Laura said. "Since you living here." I set my post on the table. "We're leaving this week." Both looked up. "Where?" Mom asked. "I'm starting a new job. The company is covering the first month's apartment advance. We're moving." Laura's expression changed instantly. "Wait, what about household expenses then?" For the first time, I met her eyes calmly. "You'll handle them yourselves." Silence settled over the kitchen. At that exact moment, Mom's phone rang. Her face drained of color as she listened. The store where she worked part-time was cutting staff, and her hours were gone. An uneasy quiet followed, as if the ground had shifted under all of us. And suddenly, I saw the truth clearly. I hadn't always been a burden. It had just been easier for them to keep me in that position. Within hours, everything changed. I packed the kids' clothes, gathered essentials, and by evening, we were back at my friend's place, preparing for our move. The next week passed in a blur of paperwork, long nights, and exhaustion. My warehouse job was tough, lifting boxes, scanning shipments, learning schedules, but every hour felt like a step toward freedom. The signing bonus helped secure a modest apartment near the kids' school. It wasn't fancy, but it was ours. The first night there, the kids ran from room to room, laughing at how their voices echoed. My son claimed a corner for his toy cars, and my daughter carefully arranged her stuffed animals on the bed. Watching them made every ache in my body worth it. The routine slowly formed. I worked nights while a neighbor watched the kids early mornings until school. I slept in short bursts, learned how to stretch every dollar, and cooked meals ahead so they never went hungry. It was exhausting, but the exhaustion felt honest, not humiliating. One morning after my shift, I stood on our small balcony, watching the sunrise. The sky glowed orange over the parking lot below. And despite my tired muscles, a quiet peace filled me. Inside, breakfast waited in the fridge, fresh, made just for my children. No leftovers pushed on them. No embarrassment. My phone buzzed with a message from Mom. "If you're able to help, let me know." I stared at the screen for a while, but didn't answer immediately. I wasn't angry anymore. I just understood something now. Revenge doesn't always need shouting or confrontation. Sometimes, simply walking away from a place where you're treated as less is enough. Life wasn't magically perfect. Bills still scared me sometimes. Unexpected expenses still kept me awake at night. But when my kids sat at the table now, they didn't wait nervously to see whether they'd get leftovers or something better. They knew what was on their plates belonged to them. And that changed everything. I still help when I can, but not at the cost of my children's dignity or my own. I learned to set boundaries even with family. Love doesn't mean accepting humiliation. Support shouldn't come with shame attached. Sometimes late at night while stacking boxes in the warehouse, I remember that kitchen. The smell of fresh food we were meant to eat. My daughter's small hopeful question. My own silence. That memory still stings. But it also reminds me why I pushed forward. Leaving wasn't easy. Staying would have been worse. My children now see a mother who struggles. Yes, but also one who refuses to stay where she isn't respected. They are learning something more valuable than comfort. They are learning self-worth. And maybe that is my greatest victory. Thank you for staying with this story. If it touched you, please like, share, and subscribe for more real-life journeys of courage and hope. Your support helps these stories reach others who need them. Wishing you strength and thanks again for watching until the very end today. We truly appreciate your time and kindness always.